everybody, welcome back, welcome to another new video, and welcome to another wonderful product of nature. Humans have been consuming this product long before even farming began, and long before even writing was invented. Researchers believe that it originates in Pakistan and Central Asia, but today it is planted almost everywhere in the world. And even though it brings us down to tears, it's one of the top 3 most consumed vegetables on planet Earth. So let's talk about onions. So what are onions? The onion is a bulb. And it's a vegetable, and it belongs to the allium family of vegetables, which also include garlic and chives and leeks. They're usually planted indoors. A lot of people prefer to start planting them indoors, but within 7 to 10 days they sprout, and within 8 to 10 weeks they are ready. Now, they can be planted from seeds. They can be planted from onion bulbs, but they are from the previous year and they're just replanted in the soil. Or they can be planted from spring onions and they are a season before and they are replanted. Onions are planted according to the area and the climate. So different places grow different varieties of onions. Onions need certain things. They need the sun, they need certain minerals from the soil. So every climate is fit for another variety. Harvesting is late spring to early summer. And actually, the closest they are to the harvesting season, the more water they consume, the more water they need. Now, after they are harvested, they need to be kept in a cold, dry place. The sweeter the onion, the higher the water content, the less shelf life it has. So the more pungent the onion, the longer the shelf life. Nitrogen is a very important mineral for the growth of the onions. But there is another mineral which is extremely important for onions, and that is sulfur. Now, we know that onions make us cry. Everybody who's tried to cut an onion, we always cry. So what's up with that? Well, this goes back to the sulfur. Onion absorbs sulfur from the soil, and when we cut the onion, there is a chemical reaction that occurs with the sulfur compounds that releases a certain gas, which is sulfuric acid, and as it is excreted in the air, eventually it comes in contact with our nose and our eyes, and the minute it comes in contact with our eyes, they burn and we start crying. Now, scientists have tried to deal with that and perhaps, change or remove the sulfur, etc. But it turns out that sulfur is what gives onions their unique flavor. The more sulfur there is in the soil, the more pungent the onion is going to be, and the more flavor it's going to have. Now, in order for us to reduce this burning of the onions, we would have to either control the release of the gas or to prevent it from coming up to our face and in contact with our eyes. So one way to do that is just soak it in water a little bit and then take it out, dry it, and cut it. Placing the onion in the refrigerator would help, especially if we place it in the freezer, because this would harden a little bit the texture of the onion. So when we take it out and we cut it, it would take it a little bit more time to release this gas. So it gives us a little bit more time to cut the onion. A thing to remember is always to have a very sharp knife, because the more we traumatize the onion, the more of this gas is released. Anyway, let's take a closer look at onions. So onions come in yellow, red color, and white. Those are the three basic colors of the onion. These over here are the scallions or the green onions. These are the slimmest, and they will stay like this. Scallions or green onions remain green onions. They do not grow into bulbs. They stay like that, and they have a lovely green, delicate part, and this is quite edible. It's very fresh, it's very soft, and it's used in many, many recipes, and it's just wonderful. Now these here are the spring onions. And spring onions basically are premature onions. They have been pulled out of the ground earlier. They have a bigger bulb, as we see. These can grow into regular onion bulbs. They can be any color. And the green part, it's very harsh, and it's not recommended that you eat it. If you are a person who is not used to eat onions raw, and I strongly recommend that you do eat onions raw, but if you are a person who doesn't, and you would like to try that or to start including that in your diet, then this would be a very good place to start, because with spring onions, the bulb over here is very tender. It's not as pungent as the regular onion, so this is a good place to start experimenting eating raw onion. Now for cooking, I recommend using the yellow onion. The yellow onion is the tastiest of all. If you want to eat a raw onion, then you can go for the red or the white. The outer layer of the onion has more flavor than the inner part of the onion. And you see here the lines of the onion. So if you're cutting the onion with a knife and you're cutting it along the natural lines of the onion, you are basically traumatizing it less. And if you are cutting it across its natural lines, you are traumatizing it more. But the more you traumatize it, the more flavor you take out of it. So if you want to make the most out of the onion's flavor, the best way is to cut it into very small pieces. So we know this so far about the onion, but what about its nutritional value? Let's talk about this. So what do onions do to our health? First of all, they are vegetable and they contain few calories relatively, so about every 100 grams of onion contains about 40 calories. Onion contains vitamin C. It contains folate, which is very good for metabolism and for cell growth, and this is why it's highly recommended for pregnant women, folate. Vitamin B6, which is good for the formation of the red blood cells. There's potassium, which plays a role in lowering blood pressure. It contains fiber, and they have antioxidants, especially the colored varieties of them. They have anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial effects, especially in the gut. They lower blood sugar. They improve bone health. Onion helps with allergies and the cold, so if you have a cold, an onion would be a good choice. Now green onions, because they have the green part of it, we also see that they contain some iron and some calcium, but also they contain the two important micronutrients, lutein and zeaxanthin, plus vitamin A, which are all very beneficial for the eyes, especially for people who have issues with cataract and macular degeneration. But again, we come back to the sulfur. Now, sulfur cleans the liver, it sort of detoxifies, and it turns harmful and poisons into harmless waste, so we get rid of it. Now, sulfur compounds in the onion may reduce blood pressure, but also they protect us from different types, and actually from the major types of cancer, because what they do is that they prevent cancer cells from growing. Now, listen to this. Studies show that if we consume 7 or more portions of onion or alien vegetables per week, which means if we consume once a day, then this would reduce the risk of cancer from 55 and up to 85%. And that's pretty important. That's a very big accomplishment. But onions are best to be consumed raw, because once we cook onions, there is a great reduction in the amount of sulfur compounds in it. So how can we include onions in our diet? Very easy. First of all, we eat it raw, and this is the recommended way to eat it, where you can make the best out of it. And the thing with it is that onion can fit in most salads, because basically onion is used for the flavor that it adds to other foods. And this is the cool part of it. But other ways, you can either caramelize it, or for example, you can have it as onion pickles. Now, for the caramelization, cut the onion into slices. Put some olive oil in a pan and put the onion in there and let it simmer, let it wither. It starts withering, you just add a little bit of salt, and then you cover it a little bit, and at intervals you can add a little bit of water. This process will take about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you would see that the onions have turned this golden color, and you can have those, up to 3-4 days in the fridge. Now, the other way is to pickle them. Again, you can take one big onion. Okay, I have one here, it's not big enough. Twice as big as this, maybe. And then again, you slice it and you put it in a bowl, and you take a pan and you put in there 1 cup of water, half a cup of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. You put it on the stove, and when it comes to boil, you take it off the heat and you pour it over the sliced onions. You let it cool, you put it in the fridge, and within a day or so, you're going to have your pickled onions, which you can use in different dishes. But of course, again, the best way is to eat it raw, and you don't have to eat a lot. I mean, if you just eat like half of this a day, I would be more than happy. So, what's it to remember about onions? They are very, very beneficial for our health. They can reduce the risk for major cancers. They're very easy to keep. You just buy them and you keep them in a cool, dry place, and in there they can last for several weeks, sometimes 2 to 3 months. They contain very few calories. They are best eaten raw. They can be included in so many recipes. And yes, please do include them in your everyday nutrition. Because remember, the closer we are to nature, the healthier we are. This is the end of this video. If you liked the content, then please click the subscribe button below so that you can be notified of every new video that is being posted. Join our Facebook group for your questions and comments. You can check for some beautiful photos in Pinterest and Instagram, and see you next time.